Managing performance and getting the best out of people is one of the most common things I am asked about. So in this video, I'm giving you 5 simple but effective steps to manage performance. Hello, my name is Jenefer. I'm the founder of Silk Helix, and we help small businesses with all things HR, people management and employment law. So let's go through our 5 things and start with number 1, which is set clear expectations. I cannot stress this step enough. It is the one that is so commonly missed, and that is setting really clear expectations, making sure people understand what's in your mind and what it is that you're wanting them to produce. What does it look like? Are your expectations around how they do it, or are they around the outcomes that will come from it? What are you expecting to see? What are you expecting your customers to see? What are you expecting to be produced? Be really clear and get this in writing. Get it written down so that there is no disputes, and make sure that they understand it. Just because you've said it doesn't necessarily mean they understand it. If you don't get this bit right, everything else is going to fall apart. This really is your foundations. And our digital course on performance management goes into this in a lot more detail, exactly how to set those expectations, how to be really clear about them, how to make them timely, how to make them relevant, all of those crucial things that you need. So check out the details that are in the description below and sign up for that course, because it really is the way to find out exactly how to do this. Number 2 is providing the relevant support and talking to people. You need to ask somebody what they need in order to perform. They are not you. They are not the same person. They're not got the same brain. Yes, it is necessary that this person produces the outcomes that you want, but you want them to do that in the way that works for them so that they can produce the best outcomes. Whatever that means for your business. Yes, there'll be certain things that have to be done in a certain way because that's consistency for your customers or your product. But outside of that, what is it that works? What is it that enables them to perform? You need to discuss that with them. You need to talk to them about what they need. You also need to provide coaching, learning opportunities, making sure that they've got the relevant training, resources, all of the things in place to enable them to perform. If you've got somebody where you want them to deliver a top service, but you're providing a bottom of the range equipment to do it on, it's going to make them feel like they're unimportant. It's going to make them feel frustrated when the equipment doesn't work properly. And the customer's never going to get the outcome that you want, and the performance is never going to be at the level that you want. So make sure that you are providing them with the right support, whether that is equipment, training, resources, whatever it is that they need. It may all be coaching. You make sure that you give that to them, and make sure you're having those conversations. You're not just assuming, but you're asking them what it is that they want and what would make it easier for them to perform in their job. And if they're asking for something, and this is completely ludicrous, and give it to them. Like, if they're asking and they're saying this is going to make it better for me to do my job, why wouldn't you? Yes, you're going to expect to see improved performance out of that, but why wouldn't you give something that enables somebody to perform better? 3rd, provide feedback. There's a lot of fear around providing feedback, and a lot of people shy away from it, particularly if this feedback needs to be constructive with developmental things around it. Without feedback, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know how we're getting on. We don't know whether we're performing. Now, if your expectations are really clear and you've got measurements and you've got tracking and recording and all those good things in place, then people can often feedback for themselves. They can often see how they're going themselves, how their own progress is. They can see whether or not they're hitting targets, and they can have those conversations. Often they'll bring that forward. But feedback is more than that. Feedback is looking at, well, what are they doing well? What things could they work on? How could they work on that? And again, in our digital course, we go into detail about how you can provide that feedback in a constructive way that doesn't leave people demotivated or frustrated, but actually gives them something to work from, and also uses what they're bringing forward to encourage them to have suggestions and tell you what else can help them to perform better or what they need to do better. Because it's only with this that we're going to improve. They say practice makes perfect, but actually it doesn't. Practice makes permanent. We need to have that feedback in order to have the practice to review, to work out how we do it better, to get better at something and actually get perfect at it. So we need that feedback cycle in there. Without it, you're never going to get the performance level that you want. And even if you have got somebody who's performing at the level you want, if you're not feeding back, they're going to get demotivated, frustrated, fed up, and just feel unappreciated. And that brings me on to number 4, which is recognition. Recognize what somebody is doing well. Thank them for their contribution to the overall goal in the business. Let them know how their job contributes to the overall goal of the business. Even if you're in a massive corporate and you've got big goals right at the top level and you've got somebody down here who's cleaning, let them know their contribution. Let them know why without their role the organisation couldn't operate and wouldn't achieve the big top level goals that you're talking about. Every single person is valuable towards the contribution to the goals of the business, and if they're not, why are they there? Why are you paying them? If you can't explain what that person is contributing to the business, they shouldn't be there. So know what they're contributing and tell them that. Tell them what their contribution is. Tell them why they're valuable. Say thank you. Show recognition. This is absolutely vital to motivating people and reducing stress, burnout, absence and turnover, all of those things that we don't want to be seeing. Recognition is really important, and particularly if we're looking at people who are at our top level performers, but also even those where you're giving feedback and you're looking at development too. There's got to be things that they are doing well. There's got to be something there that you can show that recognition for. Again, if not, why are they in the business? There's something else going wrong and we need to solve that problem if you really can't show recognition to somebody. And finally, number 5 is hold people accountable. When you've set those expectations, when you've given all the support and you've made sure they've got the skills, the resources, the things they need to do the job, hold them accountable for achieving their targets. Make sure that people are being treated as adults, that they're being treated in such a way where it's that this is your job, this is what you're being paid to do. And yes, there are things that we can do if people are not meeting those targets. There's formal processes. We may look to get to a dismissal if somebody really isn't performing, if they're not the person for the job or the organisation, or they're just not producing what the organisation needs. There are times where dismissal is really important and we have to go to there, because otherwise we can't move the rest of the business forward and we end up damaging the rest of our team. But we do need to make sure that we are holding people accountable for what they are supposed to be achieving and their role. So amongst all of this, making sure you've got the whole package of setting those expectations, providing the support, being there for people, providing the feedback, providing the recognition, and then holding people accountable, that will make sure that most of the time people are performing at the level you want to. Because when you're setting that clearly, people know what's expected. They know what's going to happen if they don't meet it. It's not worth them not meeting it, so they are going to meet it, or they're going to find that actually you're not the right organisation for them, and in most cases people will move on of their own accord. And where they don't, then I would say take advice about how you follow the proper procedures to be able to dismiss somebody in those situations. For more on effectively performance managing and getting the best out of your team, do check out our digital course on performance management. In the meantime, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a single video full of hints and tips to help you run your business better.